Ladies and gentlemen, we come back to a very special place indeed. It is Zolder here for the next round of SIMSeniors and officially into the second half of the calendar. My name's Ben Snapsford. I'm going to be joining you this evening, and before we do anything else, I want to give a special mention to a certain someone on the track today, Pete Smith, who is his 71st birthday, apparently. So, of course, really nice to see him out here, and really nice to see everyone, hopefully, give him a bit of a sort of well-earned bit of love in that live chat, as we are going to be soon jumping into qualifying. Of course, good to see everyone here once again. We will be going trackside in just a moment as qualifying is about to get underway. And with that, we will soon be seeing our racers give it their all. Second half of the calendar is going to, of course, be one of those sort of inflection points of the season here. Round 5 of 8. Now, worth mentioning as well, just for the sake of clarity, I will not be here next week. That is because I will actually, it will be my birthday. It will be my 25th. So I'm going to be taking the night for myself. You will still have a broadcaster, don't fret. We've already got that arranged, and shouldn't be much disruption to the coverage that you've come to expect. But for the sake of clarity, that is just something to be aware of. Let's get our timing board up in full as the bronze and silver cars are going to be making their way around the track. Worth noting, we are still having some issues currently with Awesome, which is our client for the liveries. We are still having a couple of issues, and apparently we're not the only ones either. So if you do see any changes or hiccups when it comes to liveries and files and some cars displaying as blank, do apologise. We've gotten the drivers to paste their liveries into a folder as a fallback, which I'll be able to then manually add in between qualifying and the start of the race. So here we are then. We are well and truly underway here for the round, and Zolder is a bit of an interesting track. I know that it has caused a little bit of drama in the past, and it's known for two things. It's known for having a very awkward pit lane entry and exit point, and it's also known for the right hand or the right angle chicanes, two of which we've got on the track here. We've just gone through the Kleiner chicane with Homer right here, and we're about to jump on to, say, the Villeneuve chicane, the second one of the track. A lot of right angles here on this circuit, and while it does open up a little bit towards the final sector, it's still a bit of a stop-start. It does allow for a good couple of overtaking opportunities. Some drivers like to try it on, but it isn't always the smoothest affair. We do also have 47 drivers joining us on the track today, which is really nice to see those numbers, and hopefully stands to give us some good entertainment as things are going to be starting to heat up championship-wise. Homer, for example, P11 in the silver class here, but what's his time going to be? What's the initial benchmark? It is going to be a 1:30.267 as a 29.5 comes in from Ostrachaz to immediately dethrone such a run, and more cars are about to follow suit. Wayne Bowler comes with a 30.7 just behind Paul Murray. There's going to be John Mitchell slotting himself into second as Paul Hamby rockets himself up to the top of silver timing board, 29.1. Good thing too, because he's currently leading the Silver Championship with 91 points, just 6 away from Ostrachaz, so the two are certainly going to come and trade blows over the course of tonight. Serrano goes through into second place here with a .197, so just 3/4 of a tenth shy of the current pole time. A few more cars to make their way through. Anil Therdsen, for example, is going to be coming up, and let's see, we will, of course, get the liveries fixed and repaired as soon as we physically can. But he's going to come through anyway, and what time is he going to be setting? It's a 30.7, so pretty good in terms of bronze. That is going to be third position on the board, as Craig Niesbet's going to be the one to watch out for today. He's currently leading the Bronze Championship. He's got 78 points, and he's 11 further than Frank Tennant in P2. What's he going to get as he comes through the halfway point? We'll have to wait and wonder. 24 cars so far have put a time down on the boards. Many soon still to get something on there. Just catching up with the live chat and say, good luck all, except gold drivers. I don't think they need it. I think they were going to rocket around this track all the same. Oh, that is good fun. That is funny. I mean, we'll see how we fare, because, yeah, Zolder is a very Marmite track, as we know. We'll have to see exactly how things come to fruition. Oh, looks like we just had a disconnection. Is that Niesbet? Oh, something went wrong there. So Niesbet is parked up along the side of the track, so I'm not sure what's going on there, but hopefully things get under control. Lisa Ryan is going to be starting a lap here. What is Smith going to be doing? 31.9. So is the birthday buff going to be in full swing here? 31.920. Hope we see some good time. We're getting some info as well that Niesbet's game has crashed. That's why we saw that random hiccup on screen there. Was not out of any particular decision, but specifically its game deciding not to play ball. Chris Wilson, currently 9th in class, trying to push forward a little bit harder. So we have 3 minutes and 50 seconds remain, which is going to be about 2.5 laps, at which point we will see the gold class cars adorn the track. Wilson gets himself up into P6. Really good run in there. We'll see if Derek Hall is a 28.160. Hamby pushed it into the 28s, and then Hall is going to push it one step further and almost touch upon the edge of the 27s. Beautiful running there. So Julius is going to come up to the line, start a runoff. It could have been a 310, but was invalid, sadly. So we may see a couple of stutters here and there as drivers are getting some new times in. We're going to see Daniel Groich get into the 29s, put himself as the 14th driver to have done so. Is anyone else going to join him? Randy Zimmer looks to be on the docket to do such a thing. So the first 10 minutes, as I can see there has been a question asked about it, the first 10 minutes of qualifying are for bronze and silver class drivers only. They solely run the track, and then after, in the final 10 minutes of quali, the gold class cars will be only on the track. Bronze and silver will return to the pits. Randy Zimmer, despite best efforts, completely, I think, fumbled Jackie Ickbot, and that has resulted in him losing any time that he gained. He could have had a 29, but wasn't able to link it up. Stuart Holmes, meanwhile, making his way around, and soon coming up to that final chicane. And you can see, so if you go straight ahead, that's how you get into the pits here at Zolder. And there you go, gets himself into 12th with a 29.7. And then Sean Julius is going to get 29.3 as well. So impressive runs across the board. Derek Hill is fluctuating on the purple line, so could we see a 27 from this man? Well, whatever fireworks he's going to bring, he's going to have to do it fast. You can see everyone bumping across the chicane. Hall is going to invalidate and go off to the side into the grass, and ultimately going to cancel his run. I think that's going to be a return to pit lane for the McLaren driver, and that is session over, effectively, for him. Crazy thing to me is that Frank Tennant, in the bronze class, second place, and yet I don't think we've ever seen him really qualify. Correct me if I'm wrong, but he's always started towards the back and just let the field naturally take its course. Again, I could be very wrong there. I could be crossing some wires, but I genuinely don't think we have seen him qualify. I think it's been just raw race overtakes. Serrano coming up. Potential for a 28-2. In fact, he's flashing purple. This could be good. All Serrano needs to do is nail that final chicane, and he could be in for a winner. He's half a second up already. Taking a very smooth line through the final chicane. Just needs to power out nice and quick here. Is there going to be any fireworks here for Serrano? It's a .192, so it's within half a tenth of the current leader. That is quite a run. And you can see that gold is now going to be joining the track. Everyone is going to flow out of that pit lane in full force, as the second half of the field is about to come play. You can see everyone now quickly running. You say you've got the likes of Lindblom, Linatus, you've got the two Pixel Pilots drivers, Lang and O'Wiggle. Many different racers are going to be making an appearance now, as it's time for the top flight of SIMSeniors to come and play. See them all quickly running through the midsection of the track. Guillermo looks to be up ahead and leading this qualifying queue. Lindblom not too far behind. Now, the gold class fight is going to be one that we have to keep watch on. Guillermo has actually been demoted down into P3, with Grosges making his way up into P2. Lindblom getting that sort of dominant position coming out of last round in Misano. Guillermo hold 20 points down, so losing a good amount of points there. And Grosges has actually been a driver that has continued to impress, consistently high points across the board, matching Lindblom quite closely. 2 wins for Grosges and 1 win for Lindblom. So Grosges actually has the most wins out of the field, only matched by Hamby, having got rounds 3 and 4 perfectly in the bag. Hamby, in fact, has a, technically, if you don't count the race starts, he has a perfect record. Because round 1 and 2 he didn't actually start, but round 3 and 4 he dominated for these silvers respectively. So we're seeing what Guillermo has to show us here. Delicately balance the car over those chicanes. Say some of these cars are a little bit less stable than others. Especially once you start getting some of those wheels airborne. So we'll see how they handle these vehicles. And as a Guillermo is going to come up to the line here, what's it going to be for the Mustang? It's a 28.3 to start. How is his compatriots going to challenge Lindblom with the 2.77? So just a tenth ahead, or a half-tenth ahead. Here come the Pixel Pilots cars. What's it going to be for Lang? It's a 29.2. For O'Wiggle, it's an invalid. See, Hellstrom is going to be getting a run here into P8 with a 29.1. Or we see Dave Marsh taking a bit of a kick on the rear axle as he goes through that final chicane. There's going to be McNair crossing the line just now as a 28.8. And Marsh, the best he could muster is a 29.3, but it was invalid. James Payton coming up to the line. And Mercedes AMG, it's going to be a P6 with the 28.7. And Peter Wolfslener in his Ferrari. What's it going to be for him here? Say one of the Wolfpack drivers. A 43rd with an invalid 28.9. So if that was valid, that would have been a P9 here. But we'll see who's going to take a second bite of the cherry. As we will see Linatas make his way down. It's going to be a nice run there from Linatas. This is 28.6, 28.005. Oh, Wiggle has had a master stroke. In fact, both the Pixel Pilots cars are coming out on top here. Snuck it right under our noses. They're running together, and they are on the top step together so far. It's a 28 flat and a 28.1 for a Wiggle and Lang, respectively. Immense job. Meanwhile, see a couple more cars come through. Dave Marsh with a 28.670. McNair trying to get an improvement, but not shaping up in their favour. Chris Bourne just comes across the line with 28.597. That's going to put him P8, also known as P5 in the class, as Hall and Serrano had a really strong run in their own right and really punched above their weight in the class, I think. Worth mentioning as well, we might see a couple of fluctuations in data between qualifying and the race. We will be leaving and rejoining the session as we are going to be restarting in the hopes of restoring any liveries. Again, apologies for anyone whose livery is not being shown on track right now. We're trying to resolve it as soon as we can. Gaimar comes to the lines at 27.8 here. That is a very nice lap coming in from Gaimar. Absolutely dominates Sector 2 in particular. But that, you can see the section with the double chicanes. That Mustang looking nigh unstoppable. We see Lindblom get 2 milliseconds faster than Lang, splitting the Pixel Pilots. And getting himself into third place. Looks like Gaimar has refound his form. Question is, can he hold on to it? We had a bit of a poor run of form, or at least a volatile state from Gaimar these past couple of races. Ultimately, that's what dumped him down underneath Lindblom and Grosges, and potentially putting him in the firing line for the likes of Lang. Well, this could be a turning point. This could be a turnaround for him. Big Cutler would have been on track to do a fastest lap, but has invalidated, unfortunately. Was a big fan of the livery here on that Nismo. Apologies for that, folks. Just had to answer an urgent message. Apologies for that minor downtime. Meanwhile, catch us up to speed. Lindblom has smashed the glass ceiling. 27.5 coming in. We're just silently participating alongside him there. So Wiggle and Lang, they've kind of traded places as Lang gets himself into the third position for a 27. Not to be outdone, though, Johan Larsson. The Johan Larsson we saw from seasons ago, well and truly back, as he's in P3.902 and really socking blows at the leaders. Meanwhile, here's going to be Wolfstunner coming up to the line. 27.910. 8 milliseconds shy of Johan Larsson. Going to be a Wolfpack lockdown on row 2. The Jimmy Engdahl, meanwhile, tailing on the back of Linatas, trying to get a good run, but he's kind of getting skittish on throttle, trying to find some room. And I think ultimately he sacrificed his lap as a result. It's a 0.470, 10th down. No dice here for the McLaren driver. 50 seconds remaining qualifying. Time is of the essence. Cutler comes to the line. 0.377, that's going to be a P11 here for Justin, as the rest of the field is soon going to come through. Here's Colin McNair coming up to the final chicane. Could be on the docket for a 28-1. That could put him in the top 10. Just needs to link these final corners up to the straight. And it's a 28-0. That's P8 here for the Nismo. Can the likes of James Payton hope to match that energy as the checkered flag is about to fall on qualifying? Last runs, last chances, and many drivers retiring to the pits. 28-4 from Payton. That's going to be P15. Wolfslander also comes up to line, gets a 27-7. So pushes Guillemard down a peg alongside Larson and Lang into P2. So he's going to be challenging alongside Lindblom at the start of tonight's action. We had a non-qualifier for Michael Ball, Craig Niesbet, and Frank Tennant. Niesbet we know was due to a game crash. And that is unfortunately going to be where we see him at the back. He's going to have to fight hard. As a Chris Bourne comes up to the line, last driver to do so, and then we will take stock of the podium sitters for the qualifying here at Zolder. And then we will take a small technical intermission to get liveries fixed and underway. And there you go. So, Lindblom, what a show. 27.5, beautiful run, and you can see the beautiful happy birthday messages from the entire team here. As Pete Smith, 71 years old, racing strong, and still showing up to the track even on his birthday. Now that's commitment. If that's not commitment, I don't know what is. Peter Wolfslander is going to line up alongside him, just a couple of tenths shy, and then half a tenth behind that is Frederick Guillemard in third place, hoping to restore the lost form that he has experienced over the third and fourth rounds. Looking over to silver, it's fairly clean cut. You have Derek Hall with a 28.160. 28.192 is going to be for Pedro Serrano. And then Paul Hamby, current class leader, is going to be here with a 28.377. Looking a little bit further down in the later stages, Sean Julius continues to be a strong and dominant force. Pace only tempered by on-track struggles, as he currently sits with 48 points of penalties, but still has the place on 29.3. Looking a little bit further down, you have Stuart Holmes with 29.7 in second place for the class. And then John McIntosh in the McLaren is going to be with a 29.777. We're going to take a small technical intermission now, folks, so when we come back, we will be ready to go racing here at Zolder. We're just going to take a moment to make sure that liveries are all geared, greased, and ready to go. Thanks for your patience, ladies and gentlemen. We're back, and I am pleased to say that we should, emphasis on the word should, have all of our liveries back in place and working. Now, we are about to get on board with 60 minutes of racing. If you've been here before, you know the drill. But for those who don't, 60 minutes, roughly fixed conditions, although we can see it change depending on if it's one of those kind of rounds or not. Drivers will slow down to formation speeds, mandatory pit stop for fuel, and that is also going to have the option for tyres. So, remains to be seen whether the drivers will take that strategic option. Most drivers tend to go in the middle, exactly slap bang, or close to as possible. We can see everyone lining up double file now. We expect chaos, we expect fire here from Zolder. It's been previous seasons that we come here that we always see the most dramatic crashes and crash outs of the season. Let's see if tonight is any different. Track is hot, it's 23 degrees, and away we go for some racing. Let's have some fun here, and let's see what the racers can do. Immediately, you can see the deluge of cars just rocketing their way around the circuit. It's already going to come to blows, as there is going to be spins all over the shop. The helicopters trying to catch up with things, but we already have a lot of drama further down. That is going to be John Mitchell sideways on the track, as everyone is going to quickly be displaced. Looks like Bull, Thurson and Smith are going to be starting in the pit lane, as Pete Smith is going to go for the combat, and a great move, as John Eade is going to be displaced down behind Dismukes as well. Further up, we're going to have a bit more chaos, as that is going to be one of the Aston Martins here. And we're going to get the timer board now back on the screen, and yeah, looks like that was Chris Bourne. See everyone bumping over those chicanes, not afraid to take a bit of sausage curb if they have to. You can see Eero Vasuri is going to go side by side with Ostrachaz. There's a yellow flag coming in for the number 2 car. That is going to be for... Oh, Stuart Holmes reversing onto the track and in front of Thurson. That is certainly not a good move at all. I think that was probably one of the sort of worst moves in terms of trying to get out of the way. I respect the attempt, but he did reverse basically right into the path of his opponent. Wolfslender's going to actually come out leading here with a little bit of chaos, seeding Lindblom down by half a second. So chaotic first lap here at Zolder. I think as a couple of taps on the rear quarter, it will do that to you. We'll see if anyone has got a bit of a chance here. Hamby is going to be left out to dry royally as he's dropped multiple positions. As they're bumping across those curbs, everyone is going to be aching to get at some fresh position. See what these racers have in terms of fireworks to show us then. Things have already spread out towards the sharp end of the field. How are the rest of the cars recovering? John Mitchell, we jump on board with temporarily. We can see a mighty dart in as he fires the car into P39, manages to secure it in quite a display. It was an aggressive but fair move. Really has done a good job there, and we're going to see a lot of cars actually come into the pits, following a little bit of chaos. We're going to see Julius on the defensive here, now appropriately liveried, as Patrick Larson is trying to sniff out a potential opportunity. Julius going a little bit deeper through the corner in the hopes of trying to fend off. Meanwhile, at the top 3, things are spicing up. Larson, Lindblom, Wolfslenner all together now. Trio heads through into the second chicane, into the Villeneuve chicane. They all of them just trying to gauge each other's movements and try and psych the other out. Got to be careful though. Too much pressure, and you yourself could wipe yourself out here. We're not even 5 minutes in, and we've already had quite the chaotic start. I'll say it's a beautiful day for it. To say coming into the evening here at Zolder, it's 6:10 in the evening. But it's still a beautiful sun. It's 26 degrees surface temp, 6 kilometers an hour winds, however, so that might introduce some instability through the aero. But if you're traveling in the right direction, you might even get some increased grip if you're lucky. Just watch for the mid-corner roll, and you will be fine. Crossing over through the line. Peyton's trying to chase onto Marsh, and some of the field is calmed down a little bit. I've got to say, I'm very impressed with Serrano. Serrano and Hall, in particular, they've managed to put massive amount of space between themselves and Hamby here. And we're going to see more cars going for the challenge on each other. Lang is going to attack and succeed against McNair here. And we're going to see much of the same go for the attacks as Johan Larsson and Frederick Guillemard. They're going to be challenging each other for space as well. Mustang managing to cover off through the Villeneuve chicane. And Wiggle not too far behind, to say the Pixel Pilots, guys. 5th and 6th right now, and doing a pretty good job of managing this field. Minor contact warnings coming through for some of the racers. Bourne and Morrison, just to name 2. The Vasuri, Ostrachaz, Morrison all together. Morrison, as a result of the contact, has seemingly dropped back a chunk to Chris Bourne. Curious to see how the leaders do, though, as Lindblom all of a sudden getting very close on the deltas to Wolfslenner. Just wonder what's happening for that Wolfpack driver right now. A really good start to the session here. Wolfslenner. Lindblom is sniffing out any opportunity that he can. Biding his time here. I think Lindblom is playing it smart right now. You can see, watch where he places his car heading into this next sector. As we start the new lap, as we complete lap 5, watch where Lindblom places his car. You can see Wolfslenner going a little bit defensive, almost double taking, trying to go for a bit of a narrow line. There, Lindblom just keeps it straight and smooth. He doesn't go for anything aggressive. He's simply running a racing line, and he is not trying to dart out to the side or act erratically to try and gain Wolfslenner's attention. This is him building pressure. Slow burn, slow pressure. Effectively getting under the skin of the Ferrari driver. Once you've established that, that's when you can start getting creative. That's when you can start playing with your food a little bit. The only downside, the only concession to this strategy is you're not moving forward, so everyone else is slowly closing in. Guillemard is within half a second now, and Johan Larsson is also set to join the fray. So if Lindblom doesn't pull the trigger on the move soon, he might find himself having to switch tactics to a defensive stance rather than an attacking one. Diekman is going to be just behind Chris Bourne down in P30 and conceding the gap. But eyes remain firmly locked at the top right now. See all three of them running so close together and really trying to push the boundaries. Looks like Gamar's had to bow out of this attack here, as he hasn't really had a chance to go and almost like leverage his position here. See, Leenblob is getting real close and continuing that slow burn of pressure on the likes of Wolfslinger. And we'll check back with those two in a moment. Let's see how the rest of the field is faring. Here's Vasuri and Wilson coming up. And these two are going to be fighting to try and gain some points in silver. But Julius, meanwhile, has actually managed to keep a substantial gap between himself and Diekman in 31st. It's going to be over 5 seconds between the two bronze drivers. The two of them again running very close. This track is a tale of pairings by the looks of things. We have got drivers running almost 2 by 2, and Wade is going to be sliding across the chicane. Luckily recovers, prevents any damage to the other racers, and we're just behind it. Diekman is going to fully spin and maroon himself right in the island of the racing line. Really, he should be sort of trying to reverse and get out of there. They pull a bit of a reverse J-turn. That could have been the more optimal strategy, but he's quickly trying to get himself back on track, get himself into that rhythm again. He's all the way down in P40. See Larson on the back of Julius meanwhile. Now, this fight is somewhat moot. For Julius, it could be take it or leave it. He's in bronze. He doesn't need to care about what gold is doing. See, here's going to be Larson going for the challenge on the inside. Drag race each other all the way up into the Kleiner chicane. Julius is going to go defensive. Hold on to the inner. You can even see a little bit of debris where Diekman had his off earlier, and Simon Eade as well. Tiny bit of debris left on the track, not to mention the rubber marbles that are being left up around the racing line, starting to congregate. Homer and Hellstrom going for a bit of a fight of their own. Let's see how they're doing here. Hellstrom managing to get up ahead. Question is, has Homer got a counter? Going to try and counter-attack in the Porsche. Doesn't look like it. In some other unrelated news, as we may know, the broadcasting and previously, just self-run broadcast, now under the umbrella of Driveline Media, I'm happy to say that we're going to be getting a website, hopefully up tomorrow. It's still a work in progress, it hasn't fully been built yet, but Say, if you check back in a couple of days at driveline.co.uk, then we might have a website up. Who knows? Lang with a really nice move, decisive move on Johan Larsson. You can see Loris is right there as well. Is he going to try and go for a bit of a cooperative effort? Larsson's going to immediately take the move back, however, and three Nismos fighting as McNair's going to get himself in the fray. And see Loris and contact with McNair as well. Loris taking a bit of a slide, and unfortunately he's going to be really just getting stuck here and hemorrhaging time. Coolin's going to be on the side of him. Serrano's knocking on the door too. Not sure what's going on with O'Wiggle here, but whatever it is, it's not looking good. And oh wait, hang on. Oh no, hang on a minute. There is anarchy reigning. We need to turn the clocks back on that immediately. Right, here's Chris Wilson. Okay, we're on board with the helicopter. We need to get a grasp of exactly what happened here. So you can see jumping up and oh, never mind. That's going to be right back into it. That is going to be, I think, say a red McLaren it looked like. Let's turn those clocks back even further and see what we can glance. So this is Ostrachaz here. Again, on the replay. Making his way down, chasing, and oh no, wait, so that's Serrano. Serrano goes off the track, goes into Ostrachaz, and that's what causes the spin and slam and eventual rest of the chaos around the course. That is something. That is something indeed. So Serrano's going to no doubt head into the pits. We might see Ostrachaz. In fact, Ostrachaz has already done the same. And Chris Wilson is going to jump in too. Was getting sideswiped and basically knocked out of any major contention through this move. Meanwhile, back to the front. We see Wolfslenner and Lindblom coming in hot. Surrey and O'Neill are going to trade places a bit further down. That's going to be battle for P20 or P19, sorry. But Lindblom still right there, right on the back of this Ferrari. There's no rest here. As we see Cutler and it looks like Cutler and Marsh made contact and came together. We'll have to check back with them though in a moment, as Lindblom is still on the hunt. I suppose my nose is running a little bit. We're just playing party to Lindblom right now, trying to chase down Wolfslenner. The two at one point got very, very close, but not close enough. Is Lang on the defense as McNair knocks on the door. O'Wiggles managed to catch up somewhat. We can see Frank Tennant, I believe that is, who is peeling off to the side of the track. Yes, that it was Tennant. Peeling off to the side, trying to allow to the other cars to go through. Here's Eero, Julius and Murray. All running very tight together on this section of the course. Looks like McNair has lost a good chunk of time as a result of, say, tenant yield. Julius is going to tuck the nose to the right and try and go for a challenge as Justin Cutler goes into the pits. I think that was a result of his earlier incident, maybe collecting some damage. And Iro is going to do the same. Chris Bourne jumping into the pits also. And that has quite drastically, I'd say, shifted the dynamic of that mid-pack fight. Lindblom still really challenging, but looks like this might be the time where he gets close to going for it. Now I kind of wonder what Lindblom's game is. He's been hanging back there for a while, and I feel like he has got the pace to take it. He's got a 28.2 best lap, and you compare that to last laps. The only reason Lindblom's is slower than Wolfslener is that he's had chances and he's tried to go for it and he's had to dip back. So 28.9, 28.8 from Wolfslener and Lindblom respectively. You can see McNair and O'Wiggle are going to be running hard, coming together. Now, the last time these two were together, there was contact, and no one was happy coming by the end of that. We can see there's going to be Justin Cutler coming out of the pits as well, yielding to the side as Matthias Lang. Apologise, I realise I might have been saying Matthew Lang this whole time, and I didn't realise it was Matthias. That is purely my fault, my mistake. Wiggle, regardless, still going to be hunting and putting some serious pressure on McNair as he's wanting to get back with his teammate. The two work best when they are together and in synergy. We saw that from qualifying. We're seeing that again in the race, at least for the most part. So he needs to get Cutler and McNair out of his way. 38 minutes on the clock. First 20 minutes are down. Cutler is going to dip to the side. Of course, as the lapped traffic, he is going to respect the racing rules and the racing environment. The blue flags instructing to yield to one side. McNair is going to be on the ropes a little bit, but back up to the top. Lindblom continues to challenge. Michael Ball heads into the pits, P34. Ostrachaz and Holmes, I think, are in the pits for an extended period of time, so I think that is going to be curtains on their race effort as we are down to 43 active drivers. They're running close, tucking the nose in tight. Looking for a bit more of a narrowing. A bit more brakes coming out from Wolfslener. Now, any kind of mistake followed by a straight could be the ace in the hole that he needs. Oh, big air time there. You heard the revs of the NSX dart up. Nicely done here from multiple drivers. As I say, Murray is going to be into the pits. Michael Ball remains in said pit lane. McNair getting a minor contact warning between himself and O'Wiggle, I imagine. As the two of them are trading blows fairly frequently at this point. Here's O'Wiggle going to the left, going on the inside before tucking back ahead of the final chicane. Jackie Eastbot. See, going aggressive here. As Liamblom's still hunting. Wiggle is coming close. So many times he's knocked on the door here, but nobody's been home to allow him through. He'll certainly not get invited in if McNair has anything to say about it. Wiggle coming closer and closer with every passing corner, with every moment. Don't really know what the end game here is going to be for Wiggle. At what point he decides just, yeah, let's go for it. I gotta say, it's also very bizarre with these Nismos to see the exhaust holes either side of the rear bumper and to not see an exhaust there. Now, I understand they have side exits. I understand, like in most races, they do have the side exits here, just say on the skirt edge, but it's still just a bizarre look when you're used to seeing that there. When you see it so much in the street version, it's a change. It's a change. Especially when so many other cars retain their rear exit structure. I mean, we see it here with the NSX, we see it with the Ferrari. I will say one thing that I'm, in wider racing terms, a little bit disappointed that we didn't see more of, is that there was effectively a coupe prototype that was run in Super GTs and certain other events from Honda that never really saw the light of day as a production car. I believe it was the HSV 010, I believe it was called. Yes, it's the Honda HSV 010. Now that car was truly an enigma, because we never really saw what could have become of a production version of the vehicle. And I understand that many would argue that this is what the NSX became. But the NSX is only half of the story. It was a fundamentally different design concept. The NSX replaced the HSV. In racing and otherwise. Many people fantasized and concepted the road car version, but neither here nor there. I mean, either way. Meanwhile, Wiggle and McNair finally are going to see their racing be turned into a proper spectacle. That is going to be... Oh no, Gayamar's gone off the side just in the foreground, and in the background, McNair and O'Wiggle come together through the first chicane. So McNair regains the position. Gayamar loses about 5 seconds. Liamblom's still on the back of Wolfslander. Will they ever go to blows? Will they ever actually full-on finish the fight? Will McNair and Wiggle be able to actually decide who is going to be ahead of the other? Find out next week on Dragon Ball Z. Then McNair's managed to get the place back, at least for now. But I'm sure question marks might be raised regarding the way he did it, considering they made contact through the chicane. Now, we didn't get the full scope and perspective of it. So we don't know if it was a case of O'Wiggle extending, or if it was genuinely, say, McNair causing a bit of contact. Liamblom is actually going to sidestep the fight at the front with Wolfslander, despite being in close proximity, by going into the pits. Now, we are at the halfway point of the race, so many drivers are considering getting that run finished. We did have a drive-through, I think, from the number 123 car early on. That's going to be from Wayne Bowler. You can see O'Wiggle continuing to bite and challenge as McNair just holds his line, keeps a solid defense. O'Wiggle's actually been pushed out to about a second. Wiggle and McNair still running close, but it's about a second between them now, so the fight has somewhat neutralized. The biggest story is the amount of racers that are currently in the pits. And currently on their way out is David Lindblom. Larson, Aid Hamby, Julius, Bowler, all in the pits as well. But Lindblom has emerged in P18 and just ahead of that looks like, if I can actually get a read on him. Yes, so that is Wilson, currently down in P39. And meanwhile, further up, you can see McIntosh, Peter Smith, and Daniel Groich all running together. McIntosh is going to try his hand at a potential position. Pete's going to be on the outside. He tries to stick the nose in. Space being left. I think, Pete's leaving too much space, being almost a bit too courteous, because he ultimately sacrificed the space and position. Lindblom is going to be capitalizing on this one as well with a quick run ahead of Smith, and that is going to be his exit card cue into the pit lane for the 113. Multiple racers, meanwhile, are going to come through and out of the pits, particularly Wolfslener. Question is, will these two remain at parity once they are out of the pits? Has Lindblom managed to get a bit of a slingshot? Actually, no. That one lap later pit, and Lindblom currently being segmented away from the field by the two cars ahead. That has given Wolfslener about a 2-second window. That 2-second window is going to be all he needs. The number 720 of John McIntosh is going to be quickly passed with little to no issue, and then Groich up ahead. You're seeing two race leaders in the midst of your humble little combat encounter is a nerve-wracking sight, let's say that. Lang, Marsh, Homer all heading into the pit this lap, meaning that Guillemot, Linatus and Hellstrom are our new top three, at least for the moment. Most of the track has taken their mandatory pit stop. Ostrachar's setting the record for 956 seconds. Holmes has managed to set a record for the pit lane at minus 973.8 seconds and has parked at the end of the pit lane. I think that's going to be confusing the game a little bit, to be blunt. McIntosh and Groich. A little bit of back and forth. Groich heading into the pits all the same. They're making his way around Wilson in the 49 Aston. It's a shame that we're not going to see more updates for ACC, as I do think it is still a great platform. I'm going to see Hellstrom head into the pit now. Linatus and Guillemot are going to stay out a little bit longer. Go for that long and deep run. See Dismukes and McNair actually going for a little bit of a swap around. Now Dismukes still needs to pit. And I think his cue might be here. Oh no, he's actually going to stay out. Desi has a bit of a reputation for staying out longer than a lot of the field. Some drivers do just prefer that method. I mean, Mitchell is another prime example, a driver that we know loves to stay out of the pits for a bit longer than others may think is optimal. But it's worked for them. It has worked for them. Oh, apologies for that. A couple more cars, as I say, North, Smith and McIntosh heading into the pit, and with that only a few drivers remain in that sacred cohort yet to do so. Wolfslener meanwhile has pulled that 2-second gap out and kept it there, as that field has certainly split out and started to find its own room. AMR and Mitchell finally heading in, so Wolfslener is going to inherit that P2 spot. So AMR, curiously, is going to be all the way down and is struggling. It's taking much longer pit stop here. Very long indeed. Peyton's going to get overtaken by Coolin. Wait a second, wait a second, wait a second. I don't quite believe my eyes. I turn away for a second to try and look at the timing board for the whole set, for everyone on the field. And what do I see? I see none other than a certain Lindblom now back within a second. What do you even make of this scenario? Because all I can see is an opportunity for many on the track to really shake things up. Give us some action, as these two have been reunited, but it's looking like a fraught relationship. Lindblom barely holding it together through a second chicane. Oscom into the pit now. Might see some yellows briefly waving just as drivers enter and exit the pits, but that is completely normal behaviour. Holmes has returned into the pit lane, it seems. Ostrachar's currently still running that record at 1,326 seconds. Let's see how high the number gets before the end of the race. We'll see that Serrano is actually drawing in quite close, and then Guillemard to the back of Alex North. Guillemard with the 50-second longer pit stop, that has nuked any chances of a good run here for him. And that is unfortunate, because we were going into Season 11 looking like himself and Lindblom were the two to watch, the two top-end fighters who are going to give it 110%. and really bring that championship to a head in gold. But it looks like that's not quite going to be shaping up to be so. In fact, it looks like Matthias Lang will be next to overtake him on the board if this is how it's going to play out. Lang being currently in P3 and 4 seconds away from Liam Blom. It's a pretty closely fought matchup. And again, the Pixel Pilots cars, both of them, have been doing a really good job of showing their strength in this shortened season. Lang's been flying high with 60 points, and then O'Wiggle with 35. Which would have been 47, or no, 48 if penaltyless. The see Dismiquez coming in, being one of the last on the field to do so, having finally done it. That is going to equalise and really turn the tables. Sean O'Neill has mastered the art of quantum teleportation. He's launched himself up into first, but of course he will have his lap count rectified in just a moment, no doubt. Or at least I hope so, otherwise that's going to be a little bit awkward. See if Guillemar's going to be faring any better. He's down in P23, and he does have a chance to still get some points out of this. In P22 now, he's got the move done quite decisively on Serrano. Next up is going to be Paul Murray. Now he's really in a bit of a pickle. He's in a bit of a pickle here because he's so far removed from the rest of his class that even making up these 3-4 positions will only gain him one spot in the golds. And that's the brutal reality of his position. He can't make up those points without basically slicing through half the field. Not going to be an easy time, for sure. Wolfslener is fighting for his life here by the looks of things. He's got Liam Blom on his tail within a second and he's not showing any sign of slowing down. Now that the pit stops have happened, all the drivers are equalised and it's a straight shot to the finish. Guillemar's managed to get himself up past Murray and Aid, so he's finally on the back of his fellow racers in terms of gold. However, 12.5 seconds now to make up, so it's the mountain to climb before he gets to the start. And track temperatures are falling, so grip is not going to be at utmost convenience either. Uphill battle isn't really the half of it. See Liam Blom keeping it within half a second once again. He's restored the status quo that was pre-stop. And now it's time to see if he's able to actually commit to a full move. So time is of the essence here. 15 minutes to go, so that is going to equate to about 10 more laps. And a stretch. We are lapping on average 128s from the leaders of the field. Wolfslener and Lindblom are no exception. In fact, their last two previous laps were a quarter of a tenth separated. Not a quarter of a second, a quarter of a tenth. Extremely minute, fine margins. And the two racers are certainly going to be given their A game. In fact, these last two laps were 8 milliseconds apart, so they practically could not get at more parity if you tried. You can see Linatus going up alongside another car, meanwhile just in the background or in the foreground as Peyton is trying to chase down onto Coolan and get himself secured in the top 10. He's P10 right now, but he's in the danger zone. Now, seeing how the field is coming in hot, a big question mark out here on the field is where we are going to see these racers finish. Me personally, I'm looking forward to seeing exactly where the field lands, as we will be soon seeing last ditch moves coming in. Say Simon Eade and Paul Murray going to have a last minute change up, and who is going to come out on top at the very top of the field? Lindblom v Wolfslener. This is the crux of it, the jewel in the crown, the ultimate decision and ultimate fight. The two cars have been going tooth and nail for a good chunk, but there's not going to be just yet anything to show exactly where we are. See Lindblom getting real close. There's just not going to be enough breathing room. Not enough breathing room here. And oh, Lindblom's going to go for it, but he goes into the grass. You can see John Mitchell just waiting behind, but a bit of an overcommitment there is unfortunately what oversteps the mark and breaks the balance. The balance is broken. The field is going to be separated. And with that is going to be a bookend on that front saga for now. We have 10 minutes on the clock, so Lindblom's going to have to kick it into high gear if he wants a chance at getting this position. And he cannot be leaving it to that aggressive chance at this point. You can see that McNair's actually giving a couple of light flashes. Not sure if that's to Larson or what's going on there. Say Simon could be with a chance at an attacking. So where he is... Oh, there we go. The camera's catching up. That's always so jarring when you get cameras like that in ACC. It's the, where is everyone? And oh, then you get that slow pan where it doesn't quite know what to do for a second and then realizes the cars are actually ahead of you. Never mind. SE8 has briefly had a shot at Paul Murray, but hasn't been able to lock it in. So back to the top, and where we've seen these two fight for a good chunk. We have Liam Blom, who has been acutely focused on getting the position away from Wolfslanner. Now, I don't know what the game plan is. I don't know what the game plan is here for him. He's teetering within a second, but it's just not going to be materializing for him. Peyton, meanwhile, is going to attack on Coolan, albeit briefly, before dipping back in through the first corner. I think he's just trying to gauge and assess his weaknesses. And then go all in on a move, maybe heading into the first chicane. We'll have to see. The Mercedes getting very close to the edge gravel there. And the black McLaren is on the defensive. See Cutler, Morrison, Homer all together running in a bit of a mid-fight of their own. And oh, we can see Morrison teeing up a chance. He sniffs at it. Sniffs at it, but doesn't bite. Doesn't go for the bait. I think that's saying something. You see that they're all just trying to tee on each other and get a bit of a chance, but with 5 minutes roughly to go, things are closing in again. It's gonna be closing in hot soon. And I personally cannot wait to see what these races show for us. Now, things have been relatively tame, all things considered. As we, literally as we say that, we see a driver spin off out of the chicane, and it's Patrick Larson. Goes to show I should just not say anything at this point, huh? I really should just keep my mouth shut. But as I was saying, barring certain incidents, we have seen things be fairly tame here at Zolder. Now, it has in previous seasons and previous years been a lot more chaotic, but the drivers have kept it on the straight and narrow, have been able to link up the entire race with minimal issues this time. We see Nick Coulomb returning to the pits in a bizarre move. I wonder if that's going to be for a drive-through, as we've had a couple of those be administered. We had a stop and go for the 993 car, that was with Sean Julius, and sort of leading credence to the theory that he's a fast driver, but not a consistent one in race trim, and often self-immolates before he can really exact his strategy. So stop and go for the 993. We saw for the 123 car, a drive-through penalty. That's for Wayne Bowler, currently P35. And then the 331 car, Craig Niesbet, is also a driver that was hit with a drive-through. Let's see, running real close now. Liam Blom is going to bite and bite and bite some more. He's pushing hard. He's running as fast as he can. He knows that he's up against the wall here. But how far is he willing to go in the pursuit of position? He's really going to have a chance here to go for it coming out of this spinal chicane. I think this is where he needs to make that judgment call, as he's only barely going to have 2 laps left here in this race. They're not really going to be fast enough to pass and go for a third go. So we're about to start the penultimate lap. Let's see, Lindblom is running real close, and looks like there might be a bit of a chance being left. Daniel Therdsen is going to go off the side of the track. There's a bit of mid-track traffic. Blue flags, of course, are going to be in effect, but will they hit in the same way as they really should? Oh, Lindblom's going to skip on the inside of the chicane, and he is going to go alongside with Wolfslenner. The two of them bumping wheels temporarily. Paul Murray's going to get overtaken on the left side by the both of them, as Lindblom is going full aggression, pedal to the metal now. Hunting for a chance at an overtake. Lindblom is going to be as persistent as ever, but as we get to the final lap here, it all is about to come to a head. Lindblom is so close, he can practically taste it, and he has had tastes of it thus far, but it's not materialised yet. We can see meanwhile as well further back, McNair and O'Wiggle. They're going to be coming close. Gayamar and Marsh have had contact between themselves, although looks like Gayamar has come out of that stronger. We'll have to review at another point. Or at least leave that one to the stewards should it come to be that way. O'Wiggle might have a chance for a P5 as McNair is on the defensive. But eyes remain firmly fixated as the top. We are 10 seconds out from the end of the race. Ten seconds out. Field is tightly congested. Don't see things coming out of here clean and smooth. Unless there's a last minute dart. But looks like in the end of it all, after much heavy defending and a glitched out flag it seems, Peter Wolfslener, congratulations. Hard fought, well earned. P1 of gold class here at Zolder. Liam Blom with a close, very close second. And then Matthias Lang with a P3 for the Pixel Pilots. As more drivers are going to be coming through now. Johan Larsson barely tailing off of McNair and Wiggle, P4 through to 6. And then looking over at the others, Paul Hamby has made quite the rise and is going to be affirming his leadership of silver. Homer and Morrison are going to be a little bit further away, about 10 seconds away on the average. They're about 10 seconds away. In the end, Hamby is going to take top honours here for silver. Homer and Morrison about to come through the field. And then you will see the rest of the track in full stew. Nicely done from the both of them. And then looking a bit further down, it's John McIntosh in the end who's going to take that top honours. And then Pete Smith with a P2. Beautiful stuff. And I think I say well deserved given the day that it is for this man. Finally, third place is going to be for Dismukes, and then say Julius. I think despite best efforts is ultimately going to be at the bottom of the order. I think that stop and go penalty is what did him in. But there you go, folks. That is time. That is race over, and you can see the rest of the field that wasn't able to make it to the end. You can see Niesbet, and oh, the server has reset before we got a chance to have a look. Oh no, it hasn't. My mistake. You can see Serrano, Ostrachans, Hall, Trickett, Holmes and Finlay. Unfortunately not making it to the end of the day, but that's where we're going to end it for today. And with that, the field is going to say goodbye. Now, of course, don't go too far, because next time we see you, it will be at a very particular place. It will be at the Red Bull Ring. Now, sadly, I can't be there, as mentioned. I will be taking a bit of a break to celebrate me 25th, but other than that, you should be in capable hands. We've already got a new commentator lined up, and there may be some slight differences, but it should still be the quality you expect. And that comes sort of par for the course, as say, with the team here at Driveline and from myself. But for now, that's where we say goodbye anyway, and I hope that you all had a brilliant evening. Take care, everyone who's been watching. Thank you as always. Be sure to like the stream if you haven't already, and subscribe if you have enjoyed and want to see the rest of the season out to its conclusion. For now, my name's been Ben Sapsford. Take care, and goodbye.